just another beam in the track.
It's Sunday night, and
you know what that means? Sunday.
Means.
And tonight's first semi-final. I don't know how this is going to work. It's three-way, which I coasted thought was very funny when I mentioned that the other week. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panel for this week, the same as every week, our trusted panel. So first up, I'm going to introduce the Trekking Tailors, James and Sarah. How you doing?
Hello. Great. Good, thank you.
And next, it's the theme park banana himself, Daryl Dazza Morgan. How you doing, Daryl?
Hey, patch. How you doing? You right?
Yeah. And last but not least, the man of mystery, David Blythe. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Hello, everybody.
Just check the comments quickly.
Oh, hey, Donna from Sussex. Thank you for joining us.
Check out his. I want to get this right. He's got a dog festival. There's some festival with dogs and stuff. He's done a vlog about it. So check that out. As a point.
I'll put it in the comments. Donna from Sussex.
The way this is going to work, because it's a three-way. I mean, we can go through the rides again, the pros and cons, but I don't know if we want to strictly focus on comparing them somehow, even though they're all different. But I'll start with Sarah, because she's Alton Towers. She knows everything. Do you want to? How do you want to attack this? Do you want to compare them in the way that you know how?
I don't know. How do you compare two coasters with the Slammer?
Well, I was thinking of heritage as well.
Okay.
You know, heritage and legacy.
Okay.
Type of thing. Which for me, I was trying to, because I watched the POV of the Slammer, and I must admit I thought that the best part of it was the actual lift. I was really impressed by the lift. I was just looking and thinking that was some engineering, just for a theme park ride, for it to go up as it does and have two platforms either side.
But the engineering for the Corkscrew would have been groundbreaking at its time.
Sorry, I was going to say, then where it went with the Slammer is it just started to spin, and I instantly just switched off and got bored. So with the Corkscrew, for example, again, the POVs were just, again, really good. And it took me back. And that's why I was on about legacy. And actually, when you look at that particular picture, because that was in Ugland or Dinosaur Land at the time.
Well, it wasn't originally, but...
No, but to me, that seems like it's a skeleton. You're kind of...
Yeah.
Skeleton, aren't you? And again, I thought that's so cool. So I was thinking it's kind of like heritage and legacy versus modernity.
What about the black hole then?
Well, as you can notice, I was talking about two there, wasn't I? So,
Yeah.
in a way, I've already started to kind of give an indication of which one, probably out of those three, is the least one there, because
I don't think you can discount the black hole.
not discounting it, but I think that the black hole was, except for being covered, it was a normal coaster.
Would you say it was more of a family coaster than Corkscrew?
No,
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I think the element of the sitting arrangements and the combination of being actually in the pitch black.
Yeah, that was good.
Added a completely different element to it, because you didn't know exactly where the drop was.
Yeah, it did run for quite a few years as well, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe you're making the fuse between the Corkscrew and the black hole either.
Darcy will be, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at Coasting with the Joneses.
Yeah.
I
Comment there, but I'm not going to
I
read
thought I was going to
it.
make a joke about Back to the Future Part 1 and Part 3, because we argued about that last time we met.
Just making him choose between his daughter or beer. So.
Daryl, talk us through what you think about each ride.
Well, again, this is hard because Corkscrew I never did.
Did you do Black Hole?
Yeah, I did. I've done the black hole, and I think that was impressive. Really, I loved it. I really did like it. I obviously I really can't say much about the Corkscrew. All I can say is that it was in Ugland. Really, it was an impressive ride. I mean, I really did Corkscrew. But
even though you've not been on it, would you? Is there a part of you that really wants, if you had the choice? Is there a part of you that longs for that, or?
Well, parts of me thinks that Ugland shouldn't have gone, and parts of me think that it should have been improved a little bit more.
Sorry.
But, rather than just being 2 intimate roller coasters. But for me, though, like I said, Corkscrew looked amazing. It was an amazing ride. I remember seeing it going around when I first went with my family and that lot. It was honestly, it was an incredible ride. But again, it's like the black hole, for example. It's in the area where the Smiler is now, obviously, and but yeah, I mean, like I said, with the black hole, it's a very similar story, really. But I have ridden the black hole, and I've got to say, it's hard. It's really, really hard. But
got anything to say about Slammer?
Well, again, I've not ridden it, but I've got to say it looks mental. But it's a ride that's still there. You see, it's just standing but not operating.
Yeah.
It's funny because I actually walked past it when I went to Thorpe Park at the Mardi Gras event. I thought, you know what? Parts of me thinks that it should still be open, really, or parts of me thinks that it should be all removed altogether, and that building, Mirror Labyrinth, whatever it's called, get rid of all of that, knock all that down, and build a log flume there, because that'd be a perfect place for a log flume.
Does part of you think it deserves a place in the semi-final because of how unique it was?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's definitely deserved because it's the thrilling of it, if that makes sense. The way how, cause it was the only, what was it? There was 2 in the world, wasn't there? If I remember rightly. So, with that being the only one in the UK as well, I think it deserved to be in the semi-final. But again, in terms of performance, I'd say it's beaten both Corkscrew and Black Hole because it was.
When you say performance, do you mean how often it broke down, or
no?
The actual thrill of the ride,
operated on the way how it works, operation-wise, like that kind of performance, really. It had a few breakdowns and things, but I seriously think that it's it was an incredible ride. I think it should have stayed. I've got a big feeling they might bring it back in some sort of way. But even if it didn't come back, I still think that that there could be more plans in the horizon for Thorpe, really, if it does remove. But I've got a big feeling that they've got an idea with the ride, either to bring it back or to re-theme it to another attraction.
I just want to ask. I'll start with James and Sarah, but I've just thought Life as Emily has put in the comments. It's as bad as the fairground rides at Towers. Now I'm thinking, I don't know if you ever read Slammer, but do you think looking at it, it looks as bad as one of the Retro Squad?
It looks slightly better than the Retro Squad because the Retro Squad rides are basically fairground rides, aren't they? They're travelling fairground rides. That one doesn't look like it can travel.
No.
And that's the only thing I'm saying.
It looks more stable.
Yes.
Is that one?
To the ground.
Is it fully there still? As in the platforms are still there? Is every bit of that ride intact still?
Yeah, everything's still there. Everything, even the restraints, even the seats.
Right.
Everything's still there.
But I thought they'd used a few of the restraints to put on Rush.
See, I thought it has missed some, but a lot of the restraints are still on it. The whole ride's still there. Still there.
Yeah. And how long's it been shot?
2016 was the last operating year.
Oh, okay.
So I'll say 2017.
It's not too long before COVID started, is it? From what I remember.
A few years before then, yeah.
I reckon about 2017, roughly.
Yeah.
So before I go on to David, I'm just going to ask Daryl the same thing. Do you think this is comparable to a Retro Squad ride, or do you think there's more to it than that? Just answering what Emily's put in the comments.
It's totally different to a Retro ride from Alton Towers. It really is totally different. And in fact, actually, if it was still open, I probably would have ridden it, to be fair. because it's one of those rides that I would want to do. Do you know what I mean? As a sort of filler attraction, so to speak. But no, it's no way. It's no way one of the Retro Squad rides.
What was Sarah saying then?
Well, that's the point, Daryl, you've just made. It's a filler attraction. It is not a headline attraction. Both the Corkscrew and the Black Hole, in their time, absolute headline attractions. Absolute, without a shadow of a doubt. And you've just said that's a filler.
Yeah, it's just a filler attraction. Do you know what I mean? Just to fill the crowds, really. And again, you know, I got a big feeling that it might reopen in the future. I got a really big feeling it will, but just be rethemed as something else. I can't see them spending the money to actually getting rid of it or knocking it down, because it'd be just a waste of money, really. I got a feeling that they might retheme it to something else as it's still there, kind of thing. It's funny because I was speaking to some of the management at Thorpe as well about different rides at different parts across the world, and they're saying that again, Slammer is the only ride really that's only in the UK from a specific manufacturer, and they said it was due to parts and labour and all that kind of stuff, and keeping it going. Really, that was the reason why it shut. And I said, I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. I said, is there a chance of it reopening and being rethemed? They said, you never know, the future might arise with it. That's why they've kept it there, really. I thought they were just keeping it there for Rush, because it's got the same restraints and the same parts as Rush.
Maybe they'll do something similar to Nemesis Free Track, where when Exodus opens, they'll theme it to Exodus and open it nearby.
maybe. But on a more sort of practical level, I can see this attraction making a comeback in the future. I really can. And even if it don't, I can see it really being themed to something else. I really can see it happening.
David is shaking our heads.
It's just a thrilling attraction, really. Just a fill gap, really. Whereas both Corkscrew and Black Hole are main attractions, big named attractions, really. So yeah, I do agree really that Slammer should be really in the final. I really do think it should be there for that reason.
Well, we're not voting yet. We're going to talk to David, but I'm going to put this challenge to David. First thing I want you to say is say something nice about Slammer before we talk about.
Okay, Slammer's quite unique, to be fair. I mean, I don't know. Before I went on it, I thought I was quite interested, but it looked different. It's something that's totally different from any other ride that's out there, but it was never the most reliable ride. The restraint system, getting that sort of into place, it wasn't easy. The throughput wasn't great because there was faffing around with the restraints to get them in the right place. It was unreliable. I get the impression the parts was hard to get hold of. I don't think it will reopen, personally.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think Thorpe need to use the space, so I think rather than take it out, it's cheaper for them to leave it there until they need the space. I think that's all. That's the only reason it's still there, personally. I don't think it was that massively great ride experience. But it was unique. But okay, so yeah, that's my thoughts.
Did you want to talk about the Black Hole or Corkscrew first? Which one would you like to talk about first, David?
I'll talk about the Black Hole first. I mean, if I was going to look at these three rides and I was wanting to go to a park, I think the Corkscrew and the Black Hole would be the ones that I'd be attracted to go to rather than Slammer. I do think Slammer was a fill-in attraction. I think the Black Hole, I look at the ride, I've not been on it, but I look at it in Sweden and watch POV of seeing it outdoors, and I think, well, it don't look like it's anything special, but I think the fact it was indoors would probably give it that sort of extra sort of, I don't know where the ride's going now, it might make it feel better. So that's my thoughts on the Black Hole. It wasn't perhaps, I mean, the thing with Corkscrew, it is the original first big ride that went to Towers. So, but I can imagine the Vekoma, and I can imagine from what I've seen and heard, it was quite rough as well. So, there's definitely a lot of historic value about it, but I get the impression it was probably a very rough coaster by the end of it.
But can I just interject there and say that last week we put through a very rough coaster because of the nostalgic value. We put them out through because it was a nostalgic coaster and it is rough.
I was about to say,
true.
I was just about to say the same thing.
I don't know if anyone's going to agree. I don't know if anyone here has ridden all three. I've technically ridden Black Hole in Sweden. I would personally say, I don't know if it matters towards the vote later on, but I would say Black Hole was the most comfortable of the three to ride. I don't know if those of you that have ridden more than one of these, and one of them is Black Hole, you'd say it's the most comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't ridden the Slammer, but definitely out of the Corkscrew and the Black Hole was definitely smoother, but it's a younger coaster, wasn't it? So the technology had moved on slightly to make it slightly more smooth. If you compared it to anything nowadays, then no, it would be completely rough. But,
would you say it had the most immersion being indoors, or was it not really that great?
It was better themed than the other two because it was the indoors and it was supposed to be the space thing and whatever else. But in terms of modern theming, no, it didn't really have that much theming.
This is going to be so interesting.
I'm trying to play like devil's advocate for all of them.
Yeah.
Can I just break in there though and just say though that I mean, I do agree with you with the Black Hole. It was a smooth coaster back then, but you know, it was showing its age a lot of the time though. I'm not going to lie, the Black Hole. You know, the tent.
Say that about all three, even though Slammer was young.
Sorry, Mike.
You can say that about all three, but I'm thinking Slammer's showing its age way before its time because it was quite a bit younger.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the technology on Slammer was obviously a lot more newer than any other rides that are in the top three. But I do think though that the Black Hole was showing its age really. I looked at a load of POVs and all that kind of thing, and it did show its age a lot really before they actually closed it. And to be honest with you, yes, it was a fantastic ride to go on, and it was incredible to look at. But to me, I think Alton Towers did the right thing and actually sold it on really, because even to this day, if Black Hole was still there today, I probably wouldn't have ridden it. To be fair, probably ridden it a couple of times. Really, it wouldn't have been something thrilling. Really, to be fair, I think Alton Towers did the right thing.
On that then, Daryl and David and James and both of you two as well, which one of those coasters would you want to re-ride? In terms of re-rideability, you can only pick one. Which one would you want to go on time and time and time again?
I'm not going to say. I've got to be impartial.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I'm gonna say
This isn't your vote yet, by the way.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I never did the Corkscrew or Slammer, so I'm gonna have to say Black Hole because I've ridden it.
But am I right in thinking that the Slammer was quite uncomfortable, David?
Yeah, I think the restraint system made it quite uncomfortable. It was it's similar restraint to what Rush has. So if you understand the sort of what the restraint of Rush is like, but then obviously Slammer goes 360 degrees, so that's the slight difference. And I mean, Rush I quite enjoy, but Slammer's got a different sort of feel to it. I think re-rideability though, I mean, I think the Black Hole would be the one from what people are saying, and I can imagine the Corkscrew being quite rough, but whether that means the Black Hole should go through is another thing. But
I don't know if James wants to answer your question. I know he sat with you, but
yeah, I mean, for re-rideability, I would have to go with Corkscrew for me because of the roughness or whatever, the original feeling of it. But I was thinking of possibly for Slammer, which is slightly tongue-in-cheek. If you've been on a water ride at Thorpe and you need it drying out, at least Slammer would then spin you, wouldn't it? You know, so there's a possibility.
Yeah.
That's technically, I think that's what
Which
I
one
did.
do you
I went
think's
on a
got
water
the
ride and then
most
went on that after.
Re-rideability?
Thorpe Park's tumble dryer, James.
Exactly, that's the one. Yeah.
What I'll do, we can all add bits in a minute. I made literally just a list of a
Okay.
few pros
Yeah.
for each one.
Okay, go on then.
So what I came up with for Corkscrew was it was the first major roller coaster Alton Towers. It wasn't the first, but it was the first major, and it paved the way. But then for Black Hole, I had theming and immersion, and then next to these two, I had question marks. Family ride question mark, most comfort of the three, and then with Slammer, I just had the uniqueness of only two in the world, and the fact it was a lot more intense than the other two rides.
Thrills.
Yeah.
The thrills. Yeah. Well, I've got my polls, but I'll mention them in a bit if anyone wants to add any bit more.
I'm not disagreeing with what everyone's saying about Corkscrew paved the way and stuff like that, but I almost feel like I need to at least put some good points up for the other two. I don't know if that's something you can ride on. Although I feel like that's what Nemesis rides on now. Everyone goes, but it's paving the way for intense rides in a way, and it's iconic. And I don't tell people this very often, but when I first got into roller coasters, before I was big enough, when I was a kid, but I like roller coasters, I'd already decided in my mind Nemesis was probably never going to be my favourite, because ever since it was built, I just had it drilled into me by every enthusiast I met. It's the best coaster. It's the best coaster. And when you get to that point, it's like when someone tells you a film's really good and you've not seen it yet. By the time you see it, it's like, yeah, I've been told.
Well, they say don't watch it. It's not good. Don't watch it. It's not good. And then you watch it.
I'm with the Arctic Monkeys. I absolutely hate them because everybody kept banging on about them.
Yeah. Well,
Are they from Stoke?
Can I just
No,
say
they're from Sheffield.
Oh, okay.
Black Hole in terms of comfort levels? Yes, it was a smoother coaster. However, because of the seating restraints, because of how you were sat, i.e. one person in front of the other person, that was fine for the person at the back because you've got a nice comfy padded seat. If you didn't particularly love the person sat in front of you, that would not be a comfy ride because you wouldn't be able to relax back into them. You'd have to spend your ride tensed up going, I don't want to lean back on this person. So
in a lot of ways,
so if you go on Black Hole, you'll end up with like really strong abs.
From what I remember, it was very similar to Wild Mouse, wasn't it? Wild Mouse we talked about last week. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was a similar kind of
with one in front of another.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
putting that one out there as well.
I don't know if anyone wants to add anything else.
Anybody in the chat, you're quite welcome to put in your input as well as to what you think about these three rides. We've got the Corkscrew, we've got the Black Hole, and we've got the Slammer. Obviously, Coasting with the Joneses, we love your dedication on the channel, so thank you for joining us.
What I'll do is
your hotel room.
I'll start with James, and then I'll ask Sarah, and then I'll ask Darren, and then I'll ask David. Just to kind of, I don't know, to put it out there, if there's anything else you can add, I'll start with James. Can you think of something good to say about each ride?
Something good. To me, this. I mean, I know there isn't much theming to Slammer, but the actual unit itself, when I was looking at those pictures, does look really good. You know, you can see that whole lift and the two platforms is, to me, very unique. And I like the idea of what else it could have potentially been, but then to me, just doing 360s and whatever, you know, even if potentially they'd started just to sway it, you know, and kind of just made it so it altered what it did, may have made that better. But I absolutely love the actual unit and the structure itself. The Black Hole, great, because it was pretty much in darkness. They did add some lights later on in the years, especially at the first drop. I was reading earlier today, just so that people knew the first drop was coming. But when you're in complete darkness, it's like being in a scare house, isn't it? If you're in darkness, you don't know what's coming or where, and that adds to it. Yeah. I mean, the Corkscrew is obviously, you know, when I was a kid, it was the one that you went on. And out of these three, to me, it's the one that most people will probably know of, you know, and the other two, lots of people may not really know of that much. Because to be fair, before this show, I'd never heard of the Slammer. It's not like it was a massive ride where you knew about it. It was like, oh, okay, what was that then? Whereas obviously, I mean, the other two are local to me, so I knew more of them. But the Corkscrew, it was all over the news when it opened as well. You know,
and when it closed.
And when it closed, yeah. You know, there is a legacy there of the Corkscrew, not just for it was the first ride or whatever, but people, I would say most people would have heard of the Corkscrew out of these three rides. And,
actually, sorry to interrupt. I actually have to which one out of how long did each of them last out of the three? Because I can't remember.
I think Corkscrew lasted the most because that was it was just shy of 30 years. Because I thought
Corkscrew was 2008. Black Hole was 2005, and the Slammer was 2016-17.
But the Slammer didn't open until around 2005, was it?
I think so, yeah, something around that time, yeah.
I think it just shows like how loved it was, the fact that they tried keeping it going all those years.
Was there another model?
So just putting that in there.
Was there another model
James.
of the Black Hole in this country?
Yes. There was the Beast.
There was, wasn't there? Yeah, if I remember rightly.
Pretty much the Black Hole, but outside. And the Beast was a great ride, and I love the Beast as well.
Was there, although it wasn't Black Hole, wasn't there an indoor ride at Blackpool Pleasure Beach as well? Space Invader?
A Space Invader. I'm not sure how similar it was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the Beast outside.
But I know they had a Corkscrew at Flamingoland, didn't they? Which is the same layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and Space Invaders was rethemed and reopened at Breen in Somerset.
All right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the name of it is, but yeah, it was reopened and rethemed in Breen in Somerset.
So
Black Hole isn't original; it's Space Mountain.
Exactly. Yeah.
So does Sarah want to say something nice about each of the rides?
The only nice thing I can say about the Slammer is it's got a unique design. That's it. Black Hole it's a great little ride. It's fun. It makes me laugh. It makes me smile. It's probably got the best theming from the three. The Corkscrew is, in terms of its longevity, how much it's lasted, the fact that they kept it there for that long shows how loved it was. And yes, it was rough, but it wasn't rough at the time. And the fact is, it paved the way for modern theme parks as we know it. Without the Corkscrew, we wouldn't have the modern theme park. And I know you can say that, Galactica paved the way for other coasters and Nemesis paved the way for other coasters, but without the Corkscrew, the modern theme park would not exist. Full stop.
Darryl, have you got something nice to say about all three rides before we vote?
Yeah, so Corkscrew, I'm going to say, I'm definitely agreeing with Sarah on this one. It was one of them attractions, really, that made theme parks as it is today, not just Alton Towers, any other theme park as modern as they are today. And I also agree that despite its roughness in certain places, I think it was a great ride, really, even though I didn't get to ride it. The Black Hole, I've got to say, fantastic ride. I think it was incredible. I think when you're in pitch black and that massive drop after you go through that little loop inside the tent, I think it was amazing. But then obviously again it started getting started to show its life a little bit, really, its age, so to speak. And then with Slammer, again, the only good thing I'm going to say about Slammer, despite its bad operations and that kind of thing, is great views of London and the skies, really.
I don't remember seeing these great views when I was on it.
I think, yeah.
They used to say as well on the Ferris wheel, which ironically used to be at Thorpe Park, the Ferris wheel they used to have at Chessington, apparently on a clear day they claimed you could see Wembley Stadium. Now, I don't know if that's true. I can never see it.
You can see it on the log stream.
See it from Swarm.
Can you?
You can definitely see it from Swarm, yeah.
Yeah, you can see it a lot of the rides at Thorpe and at Chessington as well. You can see it from the log flume at Chessington, Wembley Stadium on a clear day. Yeah, you can do, yeah.
So, David, have you got something nice to say about each of these rides before we go?
Okay, I'll start with Corkscrew then. Corkscrew, I'm guessing it's, I think what people have said here, it's one of the original rides at Towers. I don't think Towers would be what it is today without Corkscrew. Whether it was a comfortable ride to ride on by the end, and from what I've heard, it probably wasn't. But I do think there's a lot of uniqueness about it being that first big ride at Towers, and everything that's come across at Towers since probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the Corkscrew being put there and sort of attracting people to ride bigger rides and stuff. So I think definitely there's something special in that sort of respect. Black Hole, I think the pitch black darkness of it, I think it looks a good little fun ride to me. I think it would be quite a good laugh, and it does look quite a interesting ride. And obviously the first few times you ride it, not knowing where sort of elements are and things, I think if you got used to it after a while, maybe it wouldn't be quite the same, but I think it would still be quite a fun little ride. Slammer, well, it was unique. As for the views of London, I think you can get better views of London from the top of Swarm. I've done a lift hill walk on Swarm as well, but the views from the top of Swarm are absolutely great on a summer's day like today. So I'm not sure that would do much for me in relation to Slammer. But it definitely was a very unique ride. But apart from that, there's not a lot really I could say.
No, I'll let David finish. Then I've got something to say before we vote.
There's not really a lot else I could say positive about Slammer, apart from the uniqueness of it. It's not something I'd be attracted to Thorpe to go and ride, where I think the Corkscrew and the Black Hole would be.
Just out of curiosity, I know Stacey wants to show. Do you want to show that before or after we vote?
After we vote.
Okay. I just want to say
I don't want to influence it.
I can't remember if I've already asked David on the show. I probably asked him off air at some point since we did it, but you weren't here the week we did Slammer quarterfinal against Pirate Adventure. Which one would you have voted for had you been here?
I think I would probably have voted for Pirate Adventure.
Okay, I'm just curious.
If I'm honest.
So, did people can still put stuff in the chat if they want? I don't know if it's going to get there in time, but I'll let David vote first, then I'll go anti-clockwise. Do you want to talk us through your vote, David?
Yeah, of course. So I'll start with Slammer. Apart from the uniqueness, there's not an awful lot of reason that I'd really want to vote for it. It's not that ride that I'd be attracted to go to Thorpe to ride. If it was something like Nemesis Inferno, Stealth, or Swarm, been in Defunct Ride, then that would be very different. But Slammer, no, it's not something that I think is massively missed at Thorpe, to be honest. Even though it stands there, it's still defunct and just stands there.
Is the structure still upright?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still there. It's still there.
But I don't think it'll ever reopen. But no, so I'm not going to vote for Slammer. Black Hole and Corkscrew, that's where it starts getting tough to me. I think Black Hole is quite a fun little ride, and I could be tempted to vote for it for that reason and the fact it's in the dark. However, I think I'm going to vote for Corkscrew because of what it did for Towers and how it is the original ride. But it's a very close call between Corkscrew and Black Hole, but definitely Corkscrew.
One vote for Corkscrew. Daryl, do you want to talk us through the rides and your decision and your vote?
Yeah, so again, Slammer and Corkscrew. Slammer I have not done. Obviously, it's been the only good thing about it is the fact that you can see good views. So
talking about these views of London, I've never got them.
Also as well, it's good. It looks unique in pictures and things. So that's the only thing really I'm going to say is about Slammer. So I'm not going to be voting Slammer into the final. between Corkscrew and Black Hole was amazing. Despite riding the ride and all that kind of thing, I think it's a unique ride. But my vote is actually going to be for Corkscrew.
Oh, I think it might be a total whitewash here. Let's go to Sarah then.
Okay. Well, no surprises from me. It's not going to be the Slammer, obviously. If Corkscrew was not in this final, then the Black Hole would have got my vote, because it is a fun little ride. It made me smile. It made me giggle. Just from a nostalgic, iconic point of view, and if you ask a child to draw a picture of a coaster, the chances are they would draw something very similar to the Corkscrew. So Corkscrew gets my vote.
Awesome.
James, do you want to tell us what you would have voted for?
Yeah,
I mean, he's still voting, but it's Corkscrew's already won it.
Yeah.
So, as you can imagine, the Slammer doesn't get it from me. I think it looks good, but I think the actual ride it is overall boring. You've just been spun around. So, for me, I wouldn't want that. But the way that I've just been trying to understand which of the three I would actually want to bring back is I'm also thinking which of the three would do best for the resort it's at. And again, with the Slammer, I couldn't imagine that there would be queues and queues and queues if that reopened. So that leaves then Corkscrew and Black Hole. And I actually think that if Alton Towers brought the Corkscrew back as the original ride, as short as it was, as rough as it was, I think the influx of people going to Towers would overwhelm them. So I think there will be people just rushing to have another go on it, and there will be people like Daryl who've never had a go on it and would want to go on it. And I think for me, that's why I go with the Corkscrew, because it should be there, and I think Towers should bring the original Corkscrew back. I know they can't, but I think they should.
Awesome. So,
Corkscrew's going through, yeah. Did you want to tell everyone about your
I will tell everyone about my polls now.
Yeah.
So my polls, obviously this was literally last minute this morning, so apologies. But from my polls, I've got Black Hole with 44%, Slammer with 22%, and then the rest of Corkscrew at 33%.
This is what I had before we went on the air. I
was
had
a bit
43. I don't know who's voting for Slammer on these.
I literally don't.
But,
it sounds a bit really disorientating, doesn't it? Really, for people voting Slammer, but
well, I have actually had some people went to the competition voting for Slammer, who obviously aren't going to win it now, but people put their faith in it. I did wonder if Black Hole was going to. I thought Black Hole, to me, well, I don't know if any of the rides in the other semi-final have got a chance against Corkscrew, but we'll find out when it gets there. But
the final.
Next time is going to be on the 26th. We're all taking a break because we're all busy in various ways. So for everyone watching at home, the next semi-final is going to be on the 26th, Monday the 26th.
Monday the 26th, and what have we got between then? What three rides have we got there?
Ramesses Revenge, Toyland Tours, and Blackpool Pleasure Beach's Wild Mouse. So 3 different parks at least. It could be an Alton Towers final. It could be an Alton Towers final yet.
Oh, we shall.
No. I think Alton Towers really. I think really we should actually have a special guest actually from Alton Towers, or if it does actually happen for the final. Really.
Maybe, but I don't want to sway anyone's vote by saying, yeah, we'll have a guest if you vote for this one.
or whatever ride wins, really. We should really have a special guest for the final. That'll make the final much more...
I'll sort something out. It's a while away yet, because the next semi-final is not till the 26th.
So 26th.
Monday 26th. But
at 7 o'clock.
I'll go through this again. Got your links in the description, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on, but do James and Sarah want to go first? Is there anything you want to plug?
Yep. So we've got a mouse scoops coming up because we haven't done it for a couple of weeks, have we? So we'll bring coming back with that one. And I think we're going to be doing the Drive My Dad's Car. We're going to get that one sorted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where I drove the Hillman Imp. which was just awesome. It's a great couple of hours that is, isn't it? If you're into your old cars and you fancy just driving something, it's definitely worth having a nose at something like that.
Scarier than being on a coaster.
Looking forward to that one. That one sounds really good.
And what about Daryl? Have you got stuff to plug? You've done some trips recently, haven't you?
Yeah, so I went to Chessington today, but didn't film a vlog because I was late getting there due to getting stuck in an accident, as per usual. So and I had to leave early, obviously, for this today.
With the reason he's not got a vlog.
That's right. But there was other reasons as well, really. But I did a vlog yesterday on Saturday for Alton Towers for my review on Subterra. So that should be coming out probably tomorrow, I'd say, depending on what time I've got. So it should be tomorrow or Wednesday. That should be coming out. Then after that, nothing planned really. It is literally just me going to work really. That is it until October really. I will probably do a couple of trips to some of the parks. I want to do Polton's Park and everything. So, but for this remaining week and next couple of weeks, there's nothing really big happening. So, but keep posted anyway.
David, do you want to tell us about any trips you've got planned?
Well, I'm visiting Pleasure Beach and Thorpe Park, and I'm looking forward to seeing the ghost train. Well, maybe looking forward to it. We'll see what it's like. Be interesting to see.
I've heard there's more actors.
I've heard it's quite good. I've
I've
seen reviews.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews about that, and again, I want to try and get down to Thorpe to do the ghost train as well. I forgot to mention that. I've heard mixed reactions about the ghost train myself. Really, a lot of people have said it's good. Some people have said it's awful. But Ben Holly rode it actually, and if it wasn't for a few hooded youths messing it with staff with the actors, it would have been good. So a lot more better. But they said it was really good. Ben Holly, when I saw him yesterday. So
David, when you get to Thorpe Park, take some video of the slammer so we can all see what it's like.
Yeah.
I will do. I will do. Yeah, I will do. I definitely will. Yeah. It will. I'm going to try and get to Thorpe really. Very soon. Really, I've got to get back down there anyway to do the ghost train. So I'll try and do another short vlog or something. At Thorpe definitely, because it's literally only about 35 minutes down the road, so it's not really that far. So.
Right.
I definitely will do.
Is there anything you want to say?
No, just everyone, thank you for tuning in at 7 o'clock on a Sunday. It's been awesome. So it's nice to see everyone's inputs again on the poll.
I've not got the graphic for it, but thematically speaking on Thursday, it's a bit different. I've got everyone will know him anyway because he's worked in the scare industry for a long time. But I've got Mark Lofthouse coming on, which I've been friends with him for a while. So, but he's specifically going to be coming on. And hopefully Jordan Young is coming on as well because they're both big Eurovision fans and they both went to watch in Liverpool. So they're going to come on and talk about and show us photos and talk about it.
Oh my gosh, I love Eurovision.
So some people won't like this Thursday, so some people will. That's what the show's going to be about.
Are they going to get Neil Poir?
Doze points.
Is it Doze points? I'm not even going to try and butcher that. But yeah, I appreciate everyone taking the time, whether you're on the show or on the audience. And look at the links in the description. Check out all these people's stuff.
And thank you again to Theme Park James for the photographs.
Did you want to say the catchphrase before we go? Actually, does David want to say the catchphrase?
We'll see you in the rear view because we're gone.
Yay!